position of the ankle and the force of the injury, various degree of this ankle and foot injury can happen. You know, like this football in this animation, yeah, look painful, right? So it can be happen. And depending on the force, whether it's inversion or eversion, it can be have bony or soft tissue injury. And they will come to you with a swelling and pain. Like Dr. Yap said, they will go to see you first because they believe you before they come to the specialist and they have difficulty in weight bearing. So this Ottawa ankle rule is to tell us we should take the X-ray, right, before we do any treatment. When there's a pain over the posterior edge or the tip of the medial and lateral malleolus, or they are not able to weight bear for 4 steps, or they have the pain over the base of the 5th metatarsal. If they have these symptoms, please send them for at least an X-ray to rule out any bony fractures. Because if they have a bony fracture and you do some massage or any start or some physio or some laser, they will make the patient more painful. So remember this Ottawa rules, you must take an X-ray. So you order an X-ray, normally we order AP, lateral and Mortis view to see the bony structures in the ankle. Of course, if they see you and if they have adverse symptoms, you can ask them to rest, you can put the ice pack, not put them for 1 hour, 5 to 10 minutes will do. Otherwise, you know, they will get too cold and then the limb will not die. And you can do a little bit of compression bandage. And any patient needs a simple thing that we have. And sometimes for us, we give some pain relief medicine for 1 or 2 weeks. But if they have more painful or the pain not subside, even with the medication, something is not right. Something is not right. Okay? So, in the bony injury around foot and ankle, not always needed surgery. Okay? In some instances, they can treat non-operatively. Like this patient, there is a fracture of the lateral malleolus. In these non-displaced fractures, you of course can treat them with the POP. Right? When a patient comes to me, there is a fracture, I always tell them, fracture no matter what you do, operation, non-operation, or anything you do, it will unite. However, if you unite in the position it is, so if the fracture is not acceptable position, then something needs to be done. Like for us, we do surgery to put back in the good alignment for them to heal better. But if there is a fracture and alignment is still very good, then you can offer them a non-operative treatment. For this case, for instance, if the patient are very cooperative, I will ask them to put on a walker. I have nothing to do with healthcare, okay? I just did my practice. So you can still give them the walker. Very cooperative meaning that they cannot weight bear. Okay, they should be non-weight bearing for at least 6 weeks. This one is more comfortable because they can remove this to shower. But when they are showering, they need to be sit down rather than standing. So the very cooperative patient in this type of fractures, I sometimes offer them these fractures. And if you do an X-ray, it looks like not displayed. There's a fracture here. There's a fracture here. But if you look more closely, the fracture actually is displaced. And this type of displaced fracture, non-operative treatment is not acceptable. Because for any joint, if there is a step or a displacement of more than 1 or 2 millimeters, it's very poor result if you treat them non-operatively. Like for this case, in the lateral view, there is a displaced fracture here. like this fracture dislocation, no way we're going to treat this non-operatively. Yes, they will unite, but if they unite in this position, and for sure, 100% of them will have poor function. So if you see this type of X-ray, please refer to us for surgery. This one also. This is a displaced fracture. Okay, the medial and the lateral malleolus. This also need surgery. Right? And what we do in the surgery is we put some implant so that the position is back to the normal. And this is what we do as a orthopedic specialist. Okay. So this is the back one. This one for when doing rock climbing. Very bad fracture. See, all the bone is all gone. Right. So this one, if you treat non-operatively, not good. If you treat operatively, may not be good also because the injury is very severe. However, we put back into the position, hope that you get a better function. You cannot go back to 100%, however, maybe a 90% function, rather than if you don't treat them operatively, 100% will be back. Right, so during MCO, we have no business. Everyone no business, right? Yeah? Nobody go for sport, no business. Luckily, I'm a foot and ankle. Because they are all in the house. Keep on the bedroom, sometimes nothing to do, running around the house. And then they have this challenge inside the house. They kick on the sofa, they kick on the chair, they kick on the desk, table, all this happen. A lot, suddenly, during the MCO. That's why luckily I have a foot and ankle. They got a little bit of work to do, right? So, all of them have this injury. Of course, some of them fight with the husband and wife, also kena this, but left, that one cannot mention. So, in the foot, there are so many bones. There's a metatarsal, there's a phalanges, there's a mid-tarsal bone, there's a high foot bone, talus, and the calcaneum. So all this one can be fractured. But during the MCO, these are very common. Of course, now also very common. But during MCO, it's very common. So for this case, they presented to us, kick on the hard object, and then have a fracture on this proximal phalanx, which is displaced. Say, clinically, it displaced. So in this patient, you can try to do a manipulation to put back into the normal position, like a post-manual reduction. It's possible to treat them non-operatively. But in 5% of the cases, they may not be stable and need some surgery. So what we do is we give some ring block for a GP here. You can put some ring block, 2% of plain lidocaine, about 5 mil. You can put around the toe and then wait for 5 minutes. When it's a bit numb, you can do the manipulation to try to put back the fracture in the good position. Another patient, again, fit on the big frame, had the fracture of the proximal phalanx of the fifth toe. Also a displacement. If you don't do anything, not nice, the toe will be going to the inside, and also there will be a poor function. So you do a manipulation and put back the bone into the good alignment. Another patient, again, see all this time during MCO, that's why I tell you, it's great that I have a good ankle. So there's a proximal phalanx or the fourth toe. Also, we do the ring block and put the manipulation and put back into normal. So after the manipulation and put back to the normal, you don't need to put the Zimmer spring or the hard spring that causing so uncomfortable for the patient. You just need this micropore and then tape it around. We do. When the patient shower, get wet, give them the whole roll. sell to them lah. I said, no lah, I give you free lah, no, but charge them in the consultation fee lah. So, so you put this, ask them to do themselves for 6 weeks. Normally, I will follow up in 2 weeks to repeat the X-ray again to see whether there is a displacement. Because if in 2 weeks there is still displacement, then something still can be done. If I see them 6 weeks, the thing already hardened, cannot do anything anymore. So they need to do this taping for 6 weeks. If there is a metatarsal fracture, then you need to know the cascade of this lesser bone. If any metatarsal neck fracture that shorten and this cascade, we call Meson curve, right? Normally the second and the first metatarsal is the same length. And then the third will be shorter, 4 millimeters shorter than the second, and 6 millimeters shorter from the fourth to the third. This the gap you need to remember. Because when you have a fracture and the cascade is still acceptable, you still can treat them non-operatively. If one of the toe is very shortened, and then second and the fourth is too long, that's not good. Because if a fracture heal, they may put on extra pressure onto the other toes. And in the oblique view, if they are still quite a good alignment, it's still very good. Because sometimes when they fracture in the oblique view, the metatarsal head will be like this. That's not good. Because they will put more pressure on the plantar area when the fracture heals. So like this patient, after everything healed, he will still very good function. And this fracture still can treat non-operatively. But for this one, the oblique view, this one is a little bit too much. A little bit too much bending. Right? This patient may need surgery because if you let it heal in this position, you will put a lot of pressure over here. Then you will cause callosity, kind of hard skin that causing the pain. Right? So you need to see properly. And in this, you cannot really see anything. There's a fracture here because the projector a little bit older than me. So, sorry. There's a fracture here. This is a good alignment. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to do any manipulation. Just put on the head, right? Another fracture in the toe, like here. Taekwondo. I don't know why it kicked, but somehow it got fractured. And it's a distal phalanx on the base by right in the joint. If there's a displacement in the joint, you need to treat operatively. Because in the joint, you cannot accept 1 millimeter of displacement. However, in this distal phalanx of the big toe, somehow we are not using very much. Yeah? Do you using your big toe very much? Unless ladies want to do dancing, tiptoeing on the ballet. But otherwise, sometimes we can let it heal. If there's a problem, then we do some other operation to treat this. This one, children, because the physis is still open, there's a dislocation on the PIP joint, proximal interphalangeal joint here on the fourth toe. And this one you need manipulation to reduce it. Another one, also a dislocation here. Right? And you need to do a manipulation to put back. Same thing, you put the ring block. For a doctor or for who can put the ring block, just put a ring block. But must be lignocaine free. Must be lignocaine free. So it's a plain lignocaine only. Right? But sometimes when there's a fracture which is not stable, after you do manipulation and still displaced, and we need to put on the K wire to put back into the good alignment. But not very common that we need this. Normally by manipulation, they normally should be able to go back. Fracture the fifth metatarsal like this. Yes, the cascade is still very good. So you can still treat non-operatively. Now I seldom, almost never put them on put POP. Just ask them to buy this good and non-weight bearing for 6 weeks. Non-weight bearing, of course, the company will say, you wear this, you can weight bear one, but don't. Because there's a more chance of displacement initially, and there's a delayed healing if you are good weight. So this is acceptable alignment, and after 6 weeks, the bone will heal. But you need to remember this. This 3-point fixation of the foot, where we stand on big toe, lesser toe, and the heel. If with this fracture, the big toe are too short, there's a displacement and too short, this is not really acceptable, because if the heel, it will put a lot of pressure on the third toe and fourth toe. So this one needs surgery. Now this displacement and shorten quite a lot, and we need to put it back in a position and put a plate and a screw for this patient. Again, the fifth metatarsal base, very common. When they sprain the ankle, this is the fracture of the base of the fifth metatarsal, non-displaced. This one, you can try to put this boot on, non-weight bearing. Because when you weight bear, the peroneal brevis here will pull on the fracture. The fracture say, I want to heal. But you ask the patient to weight bear, and the peroneal tendon asks him, you don't heal. I want to heal, you don't heal. So at the end, you don't heal. So non-weight bearing for 6 weeks, usually the fracture will heal very well. Okay? Sometimes they come with a forefoot pain. Initially, X-ray have nothing, normal. After 3-4 weeks, you do one more X-ray, then you can see the callus here. This is called stress fracture. Sometimes it may be happening in, especially the ladies that like to wear high heel. That's why I love high heel. Not high heel, because a lot of business. I should encourage them to wear more high heel than discourage them. Okay. Then some running also, we can have this type of stress fractures. So in conclusion, foot and ankle is very complex structures. The bony injury is very common. It can be happen over the ankle or the foot, and so many bones they can have fractures. If there is a good alignment, acceptable alignment, non-operative treatment is still a very good option for foot and ankle fractures. However, if there is a displaced fractures, then you need to refer to us to do the surgery so that we can get back them into the normal position of the bone and alignment so that they have a good function. So this work together, bring back the function for the patient. So with this, I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chuan. I wear a lot of high heels more.
Wear more.
Now I have to wear sports shoes already. So ladies, remember, the high heels may make you look pretty, but they are not your best friend. Okay, it's your best friend, it's not ours. Okay, our next speaker is Dr. Loh Swee Chung. Unfortunately, Dr. Loh was tested positive for COVID on the 10th of October. He is now under quarantine until last day is actually today. Just missed by 1 day. So, he has prepared a recording for us.